Generally in the second meeting is the time that we sit down and say, how do we move forward through the goals that you've set now that you've committed to this process? And in that second meeting, what we do is problem solve on how to get the documentation together on the finances. Do we need to have the couple talk with a child specialist outside of the meetings in order to devise a customized parenting plan? Are there other needs? If we've got children who may have medical issues, do we need to make sure the parents are on the same page on how treatment should go? So it's basically setting up the plan in that second meeting. And the parties each leave with a task list to accomplish before the next meeting. Several meetings are set in advance so that they know when it's going to happen. And we also therefore have backup meetings in case anything happens to, for any reason the first meeting that's chosen can't go through. And there's an agenda set, so there's no feeling of being blindsided or surprises. Very important to the safety of the process. Generally, you have folks who there's a learning disparity in, shall we speak, rather than a power disparity. For instance, the breadwinner may be the one who's in charge of the finances, who has more information about retirement or the house value, whereas the stay-at-home caretaker or the primary caretaker may have more information about the kids. What we're looking at is getting all of that information together, devising a plan to get that, put it on the table, avoiding expensive discovery, because we're going to open it up. It's going to be a transparent process where we exchange information so that everybody has the same information. That's part of the thing that the parties commit to. Most of them love it. It's a lot less expensive, it's a lot less hassle, and you only get the information you truly want and don't have to rifle through a bunch of stuff to get to the things that you really want. As we move through the process, the next meetings generally may have on the agenda, we're going to sit down with the child specialist and say, here's the plan we came up with. What else do we need to do to make this okay? Or we may have the financial neutral, make a presentation. Here's the inventory. Here's what your assets are. Here's what your liabilities are. Here's what your post-divorce budgets look like. Basically, once all of that information is gathered, and only once the information is gathered, do we move forward to the third step. And the third step is to devise options. And the parties are taught to brainstorm, just like all corporations, just like all good businesses do. We brainstorm, we throw ideas out there that one may have a knee-jerk reaction and say, no way. But we do that for a purpose because it increases the brain activity, it increases the creativity, and we come up with all of these options. And only after we've exhausted all of the options for resolving all of the issues do we go through what are the consequences of each of these options look like. When what happens is the fourth step rarely becomes necessary because the parties have been dealing with each other in such an appropriate way in a safe environment that they look at all the options, they see the consequences, and the light bulb goes off and the case resolves itself because it becomes very clear what both of them want. Part of the reason that that works, and works in the high 90th percentile in the cases that I have had, and we see that basically across the world in collaborative cases, is because the parents or the spouses are totally directing this. It's individualized to their individualized family. And trust me, there isn't one single family that can be put in the box that we call the law at the courthouse. Giving folks the freedom to make their own decisions is very empowering, and it's also it makes things feel safer so that the fear is taken out, because decisions made under fear are not good decisions as a general rule.